All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again. Now, we are still on the Did You Know channel. As I'm reading this title, I'm like, wouldn't that make them cousins? Okay, it says identical twins marry identical twins. Then they gave birth and found out horrible truth. Cousins, right? Or am I tripping? All right. Again, appreciate you guys coming over. I'll leave the link to the channel in the description. Shout out to all the good humans, man. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
His brow furrowed as he took in the two images in front of him. Then he raced over to their medical charts to find their blood work. It didn't make sense. Brianna and her sister watched with growing concern as the doctor's eyes widened further and further in disbelief. "How is this possible?" he muttered. Suddenly he looked at them with something resembling fear. Brianna Dean and her twin sister Brittany had a special bond. They were closer than any other twins they knew. But when it came to their dating life, they preferred to keep their love interests quiet until they were sure it was serious.
Okay.
One big example was the fact that Brittany loved flying, but Brianna was terrified, which made vacations quite the challenge. Brianna bumped into her future husband at a twins festival in Twinsburg, Ohio. His name was Josh Salyers, and he also had a twin, Jeremy. Brittany and Jeremy casually chatted as sparks flew between Brianna and Josh. Soon they fell in love, and it was time to tell Brittany that she finally found the one. But Brittany also had a secret of her own. Brianna watched her sister's face transform into shock and awe as she told her all about Josh Salyers. Her reaction didn't make much sense until she returned the favor and told her that she had been dating his twin brother Jeremy, where things had also gotten serious. The girls dreamed of a white wedding and of all four of them moving into the same house. But first, there was something they had to do. And soon, they'd find out that this wouldn't be the fairy tale they were hoping for. They had to visit the doctor. All they wanted to do was talk to a midwife, but the entire family eventually pressured them into visiting a bland office that smelled of disinfectant. Bad news had always filled places like these. When the doctor walked in, wearing a slight frown, their hearts started to race. Was it bad news? Since Brianna and her sister were in their late 30s, they decided they wanted to get a fertility check. It was just a precaution. But when they told the doctor that they were dating identical twins too, they were shocked by what the doctor said. Although they were fertile, the doctor warned them against starting a family with their unorthodox partners, but Brittany and Brianna wouldn't listen. They got married together, bought a house to live in together. Everything seemed to be going great, but deep within the corners of Brianna's mind,
like the twins, all four of them are living in the same house?
they got married together, bought a house to live in together. Everything seemed to be going great, but deep within the corners of Brianna's mind, all she could think of was the doctor's stark warning. Of course, it wasn't long until they were both pregnant. The amazing news, however, was quickly countered with an unpleasant reality. Brianna tried to ignore the feeling that something wasn't quite right about all this. Brittany was 3 months pregnant when she suffered a miscarriage. With Brianna 4 weeks behind her, she feared that this same thing would happen to her. They had the same body after all. After an anxious wait, it was as predicted. Brianna followed in her sister's footsteps and had a miscarriage at exactly the same time frame. It was a devastating loss, but it didn't discourage them. It was less than half a year by the time Brianna and Brittany found themselves pregnant again. This time the pregnancies were smooth and their checkups with their doctor were more frequent, but once again they faced another warning. The doctor sat across from their group and sighed. "Ladies, I thought I told you to come and talk to me before you decided to start a family." Brianna felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up in anger. "No, you told our mother that." He shook his head and pulled out a folder. It was her and Brittany's medical history. He went on to use words like testing, health, prenatal preparation, and a bunch of other medical jargon. She tightened the grip on her husband's hand. Who was he to say they shouldn't have kids now? She was about to tell him off, but the next piece of news was heartbreaking. The doctor went on to explain that because of their past genetic problems and the pending tests on their husbands, There was a chance that both she and her sister's baby could have the same defective genetic issues passed down to them.
Man.
It's obviously your body and your choice, the doctor said. I just wish you would have come here so we could have prepared better. Now, all we can do is watch closely and be careful. Babies might have been a grab bag of genetic materials, but their pairing of identical twins created an entirely different set of odds. Then the doctor looked at their scans. His eyes popped as he took in the two images he held in his hands. Then he raced over to their medical charts to find their blood work. It didn't make sense. Brianna and her sister watched with growing concern as the doctor's eyes darted across their scans and test documents. What was he seeing? The doctor grabbed a chair and sat next to the twins as he explained what the test results were now beginning to show. It was the unknown that he was most nervous about for them. Although Brianna's and Brittany's babies are from two different fathers and two different mothers, they are only respectively cousins, which means, genetically speaking, Brianna and Brittany's children, current or future, as long as they remain with their spouses,
cousins,
will always be full biological siblings to each other, even though they would have different parents. For an OB doc, this is like winning the lottery.
Cousins.
It's really that rare, said their doctor. And for the couples, winning the lottery is exactly what this discovery felt like. 8 months and 2 weeks later, Brianna was the first to go into labor. Despite the high risk, she cried with joy as she learned that both babies were perfectly healthy. They had won the DNA lottery and wouldn't have to suffer as they had. However, as they held their tiny infants, they both agreed that they would check with a doctor before having another. Brianna and Brittany, as well as their husbands, were thrilled to know that their children were going to be siblings, especially as they'll be growing up in a house with 4 parents anyway. But not everyone was as happy as the twins once they found out about their unique story. Reporters and journalists raced to interview them, which they accepted. But the news spread fast, and so did conflicting opinions. TLC realized what a unique situation the Dean sisters' wedding was and aired the entire documentary of the twins' wedding ceremony, titled Our Twinsane Wedding. Their wedding's theme was Twice Upon a Time, and the identical twin couples were even married by identical twin ministers.
What?
It doesn't happen very often that an identical twin would find and marry another identical twin. So it's no surprise that the story of the Dean sisters and Salyer brothers piqued the interest of many netizens and TV viewers. Whenever the girls do interviews, people never fail to ask them if the couples have ever been mixed up or kissed the wrong twin. But the girls are quick to set things straight. This has never occurred. In fact, Brittany has even gone on to say that it's weird for people to even think about such things. Brittany and Brianna are keen to help raise their children as a multi-parent unit, but that's not all. They actually plan to both get pregnant at the same time, which takes a great deal of planning and quite a bit of luck. Down to the last detail, these two pairs were meant to be. After the birth of their babies, the quartet was elated. They couldn't have planned it better. It seems like the two pairs of twins were destined for each other from the moment they were born. Perhaps this is why Brittany gravitated to Jeremy and Brianna to Josh. It's as if they instinctively knew which twin felt most like them. If you read it in a book, you'd think it was too perfect, but it's true. The stars had to align. I get to marry the man of my dreams, and at the same time, I get to look over next to me and see my twin sister marrying the man of her dreams, Brittany said in an interview. The odds of something like this even happening are pretty astounding, and for the Salyer couples, all of their childhood dreams came true.
For all your twins out there, let me ask y'all this. At what point do you stop dressing alike? Or is that just a thing you just gonna do forever? Because they grown. I see a lot of these pictures, they got the same outfits on. Is that I mean, I'm just trying to think, if I had a twin, would I always want to dress alike? Probably. Or something close. Maybe same shirt, different color. I don't know. I know that's a special bond that they have, But yeah, when they said they all live together, I was like, hold on now. I ain't never heard of that. But that definitely was like a crazy story. They got married by identical twin ministers. That's, yo. I ain't gonna lie, it was a little odd. Still had a beautiful ending, but yeah, they will be cousins. No matter which way you want to split it, cousins. All right. Shout out to the Did You Know channel again. Appreciate you guys coming over and watching, man. Peace out.